Good day, ma'am. My name is Ralf, Benedict, Monegas, BS Criminology 2, Block 1.
And me, his partner, Carlo M. Bautista, BS Criminology 2, Block 3.
On September 21, 1972, President Ferdinand E. Marcos signed Proclamation Number 1081, declaring martial law in the Philippines. According to certain sources, Marcos signed the proclamation on September 17 or 22. However, the document itself was dated September 21 in both cases. Marcos cultivated that cult of September 21 throughout the martial law period, establishing it as National Thanksgiving Day with Proclamation Number 1180. To mark the beginning of his new society, he chose the year 1973. The misinformation campaign was so successful that many Filipinos, particularly those who did not witness the event of September 23, 1972, continue to believe that martial law was declared on September 21, 1972. It was not the case. Any promises made by the new society and of President Ferdinand Marcos, most important, he was most inspiring when he gave speeches. He speak about his vision of the new world. Bagong lipunan or bagong lipunan is a type of society in which every Filipino could be free to do whatever he or she wants, achieve their full potential as human being. Filipino world no longer wants to live in such a society. Poverty, starvation, corruption, and mass incarceration, deception, and violence are two words that come to mind while thinking about deception and violence. After hundreds of years, Marcos will be a victim of colonial oppression. He stated in his talks that the moment has come for Filipinos to finally live in a way that was meaningful to them, serving of their esteem. On September 14, 1972, Marcos wrote in his journal that he instructed the military that he would proceed with declaring martial law. Marcos' plot was known to the U.S. Embassy in Manila as early as September 17, 1972. This was the result of a protracted period of planning. Marcos alluded at the declaration of martial law in a speech to the Senate on May 17, 1969. Alumni Association of the Philippine Military Academy. Curfews, suspension of civil law.
Marcos declared martial law in September 1972, claiming that it was the last line of defense against rising disorder brought on by increasingly violent student protests, alleged communist insurgency threats from the new Communist Party of the Philippines, and the Muslim separatist movement of the Moro National Liberation Front. One of his acts was to arrest members of Congress and the Constitutional Convention who were opposed to him, except in Muslim areas of the South, where a separatist rebellion led by MNLF erupted in 1973. Popular reception to martial law was mainly positive. Thousands of military civilian casualties continued to be claimed, despite half-hearted attempts to negotiate a ceasefire. With the formation of the National Democratic Front, an organization encompassing the CPP and other communist insurgency, grew even more. The regime was able to reduce violent urban crime, collect unregistered firearms, and quell communist insurrection in some places, while implementing martial law. At the same time, a number of significant new concessions were made to foreign investors, including a restriction on organized labor strikes and the commencement of a land reform program. Marcos announced the approval of a new constitution based on the parliamentary system in January 1973, with himself as president and prime minister. On September 23, 1972, at 7:15 p.m., President Ferdinand Marcos announced on television that he had declared martial law throughout the Philippines. Even though the formal declaration declaring martial law, Proclamation number 1081, dated September 21, 1972, was technically revoked on January 17, 1981. Marcos held almost all his powers as dictator until he was overthrown on February 24, 1986. Marcos stated that he imposed martial law in response to the communist danger presented by the newly formed Communist Party of the Philippines and the sectarian rebellion of the Mindanao Independence Movement when he did so in 1972. Opposition leaders at the time, including Lorenzo Taada, Jose Jokno, and Jovito Salonga, accused Marcos of exaggerating these threats in order to consolidate power and extend his presidency beyond the 2 terms permitted by the 1935 constitutions.